Consequence, 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 consequences of my actions chasing me right now. Hello. I am Aoyalaipe, and I like to hop into top tier matches in War Thunder and then personally kill the entire enemy team by myself. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so I have here the F-18C Premium in the German tech tree, and as you can see from the Obnoxious skin, this is actually a Swiss plane, but I will have to explain the skin later because, boy, this was one hell of a match. So, to make a long story short, I got recognized. Like, people figured out I was in the lobby and started focusing me really hard about halfway through because they really didn't want to be in one of my videos. But then I just went ahead and killed them all anyways. So this wound up being a really long, nutty match. So anyways, the first thing I'm going to do is hit the deck because there are a lot of F-14s on the enemy team and I really don't want to deal with the Phoenix spam. But like, as you can see, there's already one like flying at me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to the side here and pick off a few stragglers. And curiously enough, those stragglers also happen to be in F-18s. There's a lot of F-18s at this battle rating because the American and British tech trees also get premium F-18s at 12.7. But the Swiss one is better than the American and British ones. And the British one's actually Canadian. Anyways, the Swiss F-18 gets more countermeasures and better engines. And trust me, you're going to see how much those things can matter once everyone starts dogpiling me. You're also going to see it pretty much immediately, actually, because I fire an AIM-7P radar missile at the second F-18 I kill here. And I know he sees the missile because he starts trying to dodge it, but he doesn't chaff it, which means he's probably out of countermeasures. So I'm like, oh, okay, I just go ahead and nail him in the face with an AIM-9L instead. Because he wasn't going to dodge an AIM-9L at that range without flares, right? That poor guy was in the American F-18, and as I just explained a second ago, that version of this jet gets an insufficient number of countermeasures. And then I killed the third F-18 right over here. And to be fair, one of those F-18s I just killed was the Swiss version. And so, I mean, you can't argue I'm in an overpowered plane if the people I'm killing are also in the same goddamn plane as me. So anyways, one of the core features of almost any F-18 in War Thunder is that it gets a lot of missiles for its battle rating. On the Swiss version here, I roll with 6 AIM-9Ls and 4 AIM-9Ps. AIM-9Ls are infrared missiles, AIM-9Ps are radar guided. But on the American and Canadian versions, which I did actually test fly for my sins, I usually went with 4 AIM-9Ls and 5 AIM-9Ps, and sometimes I'd even do 2 AIM-9Ls and 6 AIM-9Ps, because there's 2 pylons that can either take 1 radar missile or 2 infrared. The reason why I would take more radar missiles on the American and Canadian versions is that those versions are less survivable, so the best way to compensate for that is to attack from a longer range, and the AIM-9P is a longer range missile. Because the Swiss version has better engines and more countermeasures, it's a lot better at surviving if you get into a close and dirty fight. So I loaded up with AIM-9Ls, which are, better for a close and dirty fight. That being said, one thing all 3 premium F-18s have in common is that they are a remarkably generic multi-role jet. And that means they are a fantastic thing to hand to a new player. If you want to buy your way to top tier and you have no idea what you're doing, getting an F-18 or some other generic multi-role jet is probably a good idea because you will get exposed to a little bit of everything, and this plane is simple enough that it's hard to screw up too badly. Like, there's no weird quirks that will screw you over in an F-18. So if you suck at an F-18, it's not because you suck at an F-18, it's because you suck at War Thunder, or more specifically, you suck at top tier in War Thunder. And if you improve at this game, you improve basic top tier skills. So you'll be better equipped to fly other jets. Now, anyways, as you can see here, there's a huge swarm of enemy players flying towards me. So I have to be careful about attacking them because the only weapon I have that can hit them at this range is the AIM-7P. But that's a Fox 1 radar missile. That means I can only attack one person at a time with them. So I need to make sure I'm picking off an enemy player who is close enough and flying towards me fast enough that my missile will hit him before any of his teammates' missiles can hit me. And after I pick him off, I just go ahead and get into a dogfight with the rest of his teammates, and I hose everyone in sight with endless F-18 missiles, and then I pull up for a tactical reload after I get a few more kills. The F-18 is a good dogfighter, but like all top tier jets, the energy retention leaves much to be desired, and if you get slow, you're gonna die. So I knew that after doing this, I would have to pull out to go rebuild my energy anyways, and that takes time. And I could also be using that time to reload my missiles, so that's why I was just hosing people, and I was being really careless with my missiles. So I guess I should take a moment to start explaining the skin a little bit. So some of the jokes here are obvious, like, you know, the Toblerone bar or the Swiss cheese or whatever, but some of them are not. Like, you might, for example, be wondering why there seems to be a stock photo of a bunch of generic white people on the tail fin, and the answer is that I really wanted to put a picture of a famous Swiss person on the tail fins, but I legitimately could not think of one, so I figured I'd just resort to using a picture of Switzerland's head of state, but their head of state is a 7-member collective. So I just said screw it and put a group picture of all 8 of them on the tail fin, and yes, I said that right, they sort of have this weird +1. Look, this isn't a civics lesson, and you guys know my friend Draconics DG, he's a YouTuber I sometimes do collaborations with. Yeah, he's from Switzerland, so I then went ahead and asked him to just name Swiss celebrities, and he said Draconics DG is a joke, because he also had trouble thinking of any, and then we realized that among War Thunder players, he legitimately might actually be the most famous Swiss person, so I went ahead and put his profile picture on the underside of the plane, and I'll link his channel in the description. And Jesus Christ, I just killed another F-18, like seriously, I'm just mowing down F-18 left, right, center. You can't say this isn't fair. You can't say it's not fair. Like, the Swiss version is better, but not by that much, and some of the F-18s I'm killing are the Swiss version anyways. Oh, and another thing I should mention is that, you remember how I explained a while ago that the hitboxes on trees would set off the proximity fuses on missiles? Yeah, correction on that, I was wrong, that's not true. I forget who proved this to me. I think it was Will is Awesome, the streamer, the Twitch streamer. I'll link his Twitch channel. But basically what appears to have been happening is that dipping up and down over the trees would cause the missiles to have an intercept course below the ground at certain points. So they'd actually just fly into the ground in the forest, not the trees themselves. So I guess I was doing the right thing for the wrong reason. But anyways, back to the footage. As you can see, I'm like flying through a furball right now. And I'm able to do this largely because my engines are able to keep me fast enough that I can't be easily killed. And this version, the F-18, does have enough countermeasures that you can practically pre-flare. And pre-flaring and speed are like the 2 most important things you want to do if you want to stay alive in a furball. If you're unfamiliar with pre-flaring, I explain this periodically, so I'll give you the short version. But basically, pre-flaring is where you flare right before an enemy launches a missile, so you mess up their missile shot. But pre-flaring is where you flare before the enemy even thinks about trying to shoot at you. The basic idea here is that players will tend not to attack you if you look annoying to kill, and there's someone else nearby who looks easier to kill. And if you're using countermeasures, you look annoying to kill. So if you're in a furball with a bunch of enemy players and a bunch of people on your own team, it's often worth using countermeasures just so you look really annoying to kill, and that means a lot of people won't even bother trying to kill you. They'll go kill your teammates instead, and those guys make great meat shields. I like to call them sponges, because like a player who doesn't really know what they're doing, like their main tactical role in a match is they soak up the attention and missiles of people who do know what they're doing. Also, quick side note, I've started double tapping most F-4C players that I see at this battle rating, but I don't do that for F-105 players. If I see an F-105 player, I just had one missile at him and it kills. F-4Cs and F-105s don't have flares, but most people who still have the F-4C in their lineup at this battle rating have gone really good about shooting down incoming missiles using their own missiles. But it's really only practical for them to shoot down 1 incoming missile at a time, so if I send 2, they're basically guaranteed to die. But I don't bother doing this when I'm shooting F-105 players, because most F-105 players don't know how to do that. I don't know why that is, it's just something I've noticed. I mean, let's just be honest, F-105s are basically just silver lion pinatas at this point. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and fly through all these enemy players and survive because ninja skills. And before you ask, yes, I do have the Missed Me decal on this plane. Like, if you're new here, that has nothing to do with Switzerland. That's actually just my custom decal. And to be fair, Missing Me is something the enemy team will excel at in this match. If you want the decal, I have a custom store link in the video description. If you buy anything with that link, you'll get my decal as a bonus. And then you too can paint a target on your back and run around killing everyone. Yeah, I mean, the Miss Me decal would not even really make sense for Switzerland because no one has ever really bothered trying to shoot them. If you're unaware, Switzerland managed to stay out of both world wars and the Cold War because they're absurdly difficult to invade. Even today, Switzerland still has about 360,000 bunkers and 4 million firearms for its 9 million citizens. And remember, these people live in like the frickin' Alps, so it's already hard to invade before you had a few 100,000 bunkers. But their national defense policy has chilled out a bit in recent years. For example, civilian bridges on the Swiss-German border used to be permanently rigged with explosives at all times. But Switzerland stopped doing that in, wait for it, 2014. Speaking of putting explosives where they don't belong, someone decided to bring a prop plane into this lobby. So I'm gonna go shoot it with an AIM-9L. Free kill. Bye-bye, prop plane. I know someone's gonna leave a comment and be like, man, you killed a prop plane, man. But I mean, like, look, I killed everything else too, so like, you know, whatever, shut up, dude. Anyway, so this is where I started getting recognized by people in the lobby. The backstory here is that Gaijin broke streamer mode 2 weeks ago, and streamer mode is how YouTubers like me hide their names so fans like you don't dogpile us. But I didn't know streamer mode was broken because I was on vacation, and when I came back and started flying the F-18, I got recognized like 2 or 3 times, and that was really weird because I almost never get recognized, and whenever I ask people how they knew it was me, they never give me an answer. The issue, as it turns out, is that my name was only hidden from myself, as in I could not see my own name, but everyone else could, which is just pointless. But then most people didn't realize it really was me because they assumed I was just a random fake. After all, not only do I have more than a few doppelgangers out there impersonating me, but some of the funniest and most memorable shenanigans on this channel have revolved around me doing absurd things in order to disguise myself, because I often fight squadrons who wanted me dead so badly that they started memorizing the stream mode algorithm, so I had to start doing other things to make it even more confusing to figure out who I am. And as a result, any of my real fans know that they should never, ever, ever expect to see me using my own name in a lobby. But then this Henry Tick guy saw a guy named Aoyolaipe killing a lot of people, and he was like, wait, are you the real Aoyolaipe? And I was like, yes, I am the real Aoyolaipe. I'm the guy who kills the entire team. For example, this team right in front of us right now is being killed by me. And then he got really, really excited by this impromptu live show because he was a huge fan. And he also finally explained to me that streamer mode was broken, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, yeah, it tracks. Now, obviously I can't name names here, but I went back and saw that a lot of YouTubers had been privately complaining to Gaijin about how they can't get into a lobby without being instantly vaporized by people going like, OMG, it's you, die. And then like 500 missiles just come after them. But thankfully, this glitch affected me a lot less than them because no one actually expected me to be using my own name anyways. Like, my fans just expected me to try and deceive them, and that really came in handy the one time I needed them to not believe the truth. I love this game. Anyways, because Henry Tick put his OMG is that you message in the lobby-wide chat, I now have to go range bait people. Not rage bait, range bait. In case you haven't picked up on this yet, a lot of my traditional tactics revolve around predicting what other players will do and then moving to screw them over preemptively. However, I can't predict what they will do unless I know what they know. Odds are at least some of the enemy players read Henry Tick's message and realized they're trapped in this lobby with me. But I have no idea which enemy players those are, and newsflash, if people realize a big YouTuber is in their lobby, they're gonna try as hard as humanly possible to kill him. So I need to figure out who actually realizes I'm in this lobby and make sure they die first. So the way I'm going to do that is kind of flip my previous approach on its head. Rather than making myself look hard to kill while actually being reasonably easy to kill, you know, that's the whole, you know, being an annoying target thing, I instead need to make myself look easy to kill while actually being very difficult to kill. And you mainly do that by range. You want to be just close enough that they'll come after you, but just far enough that they can't really get you. And if they aggressively chase me under, like, borderline circumstances, then odds are they're focusing me and I'm going to kill those guys first. They're going to die first. Now, the just far enough range depends on the weapons the enemy players have. A lot of the enemy players that are still alive have very good Fox 1 radar missiles, and this is a flat map that does not have much cover. So it's like 6-7 kilometers minimum is the just far enough range to escape very, very easily. If it's a head-on at 6-7 kilometers and they make that shot, it looks like an easy kill from their perspective, but if I turn around and fly away, it becomes a very difficult shot almost immediately, and I have plenty of time to turn around. It's a lot of breathing room. I could tell that about 45 seconds ago, I couldn't quite get the voiceover to line up with the footage in this part, but actually now it's like just over a minute ago. I could tell there was at least one guy who was like irrationally focused on me, because I made myself a pain in the ass to kill, and he stayed locked on me from pretty far away after I did that. While he was sort of in a furball, like he was like he was like guaranteed to die if he did that, and it looks like he did. And as you can see, I popped up here to sort of range bait some more radar missiles, and someone is trying to kill me from an extremely long range, and you know my RWR says it's an F-18. And when I looked behind me, there was in fact someone in an F-18, you know, like 10 kilometers away trying to shoot at me. So clearly he's trying to focus me, and I'm gonna make sure he dies next. Now, to be fair, he might be trying to, like, irrationally focus me because he thinks I'm the real Aoyolaipe, which I am. Or it might be because I've been massacring his teammates 17-0. Either possibility can drive people to make some very unwise decisions. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill him with my own F-18. I'm actually gonna go ahead and hose him with every single missile I have because I'm actually about to go refuel, so might as well just, it's use him or lose him, right? Yeah, what's interesting is that guy flew past like 2 easier targets to get to me first. So like he's obviously focusing me. But yeah, as you can see, contact clues are important in this game. One of the nice things about this map though is that it's big enough that if you clear the skies, no one can really chase you down and kill you in time if you go to refuel. They can't just blow you up on the runway if you just sort of wipe them out before you turn around for gas. Now, I guess there's one thing I need to mention about the real-life Swiss F-18, because if I don't, I'll be flooded with comments about it, I'm sure. So, the Swiss F-18 has not been involved in anything notable, but it was notably not involved in an incident in 2014 when Switzerland was unable to scramble its F-18s to intercept an Ethiopian Airlines 767 that had been hijacked and flown to Switzerland because their air force was closed. As in, their air force was only open from about 8 a.m. to about 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and the airliner was hijacked, quote, outside of office hours, unquote. This was embarrassing, so Switzerland now keeps a couple F-18s ready 24/7. However, the really embarrassing stories about the Swiss military involve the fact that its army keeps accidentally invading Liechtenstein. If you're unfamiliar, Liechtenstein is like one of those minuscule European countries. It's a microstate. The border between it and Switzerland is really poorly marked, so every now and again a column of Swiss soldiers will get lost near the border, and the next thing they know, they're surrounded by bemused Liechtensteiner villagers who are like, ha, you just invaded us, noobs. And then the Swiss soldiers are like, crap, not again, crap, we don't want to be those people. And then they leave, and then the invasion is over. Now, you guys remember all that work I put into figuring out who was trying to kill me or the range banging stuff? Yeah, that all went out the window here when I made the key mistake of typing a message to the excited fan, and then accidentally putting in the lobby-wide chat instead of team chat. Which message, you ask? This message. Look, I wasn't trying to taunt them, that was actually just an accident. I would have much preferred to just kill them all in peace. But still, as it turns out, if you say something like that in the chat, everyone will immediately drop what they're doing and try to kill you. So I wind up getting chased by an F-14 and an F-4 Phantom at low altitude with them about 2 kilometers behind me. So close range, low altitude, high speed chase. So my F-18 can win a dogfight with either of the 2 guys chasing me, but I can't dogfight one without giving the other a perfect shot when I initiate the fight. So I'm instead going to run to my airfield because it's pretty close by. They can't follow me over the airfield, so they'll have to turn away. And when they do that, I can flip and get behind whoever turns away second and kill them first. And in the meantime, the flares, the multipathing, and the bobbing up and down will screw up their radar and infrared missiles, either ones they use against me. The American or British premium F-18s would not have quite had enough engine power or countermeasures to survive in that scenario, in that chase you just saw. That was a pretty close call. If I was one of those 2 jets, they would have killed me. But I wasn't. I was in this thing, and that sucks for them. And people in chat were commenting about how hard they were trying to kill me there. And as it turns out, players in War Thunder really don't like it when I say something punchable in chat, and they also really don't like it when I turn them and their entire team into content. It is a deeply unpleasant experience, as I have been told repeatedly, sometimes with some really quite colorful language. And every time this happens, I just tell them the solution is to not let me kill their entire team. So here are some people trying to implement that solution. Anyways, that F-14 spike crashed when I had him zeroed in, so I didn't get the kill for that. And I tried hosing this F-4 with missiles because he was the only guy remotely near me, so I might as well. Because, my missiles would reload by the time I flew to any other targets and killed them too, but they all missed him. Damn. Actually, my last missile and my bullets finally connected, but just after he died, so I actually did not get credit for killing either of them, but I did get credit for killing basically everyone else on their team, and they didn't manage to kill me, so, I call that a qualified success. Now, because I know those guys are going to try ridiculously hard to kill me if they respawn, that means we get to have the fight wherever I feel like it. I can just fly somewhere where I have a huge positioning advantage, and then just hang out as they come to kill me. So I'm going to go hang out near my airfield, so if they ever manage to get close to killing me again, I can just weasel out of it using AAA cover. Because why fight fairly when you don't have to? That's just a skill issue dressed up as chivalry. And seriously, this Henry Tick guy is just like, he's just losing. He's like so happy to just watch me like murder this team for him in real time, like in front of him. He's getting a live show. I don't like normally do that because I would get so incredibly stream sniped. Also, streams do better if you schedule them, and I really like that I can just hop on and play whenever I feel like it. Anyways, as you can see, I went to my airfield again. The guy had to break off. Now I'm just going to turn around and kill him, and he got baited into a high-altitude fight, so he can't dodge, you know, all the radar missiles. I'm just going to dump at him. And there aren't that many enemy players left, and he's the only one on this side of the map. It's a big map, so again, I'm just going to fire everything at him and then dump everything else to get a tactical reload. There's no way any other enemy player can reach me before a reload happens, so just why not dump everything at him? Also, a thing to remember is that you can dodge an AIM-9P, you know, kinetically by, you know, out-turning it, but if you fire multiple missiles at the guy, it can be hard for him to tell which one is the AIM-9P and which one of them is something else. So, for example, if you shoot an AIM-9P at someone, then you fire two AIM-9Ls in a head-on, he can out-turn the AIM-9P and he can flare the AIM-9Ls, but he probably can't out-turn the AIM-9Ls and he can't chaff the AIM-9P. And crucially, he doesn't necessarily know which missiles are the AIM-9Ls, which missiles are the AIM-9Ps. So if you send both at him, he doesn't know which one to out-turn. Although, to be fair, with that guy a second ago, because I had like a full load of missiles and I had time to reload, I just fired nothing but AIM-9Ps at him pretty much. So, he was toast. When there aren't many enemies left, you can just hose them with missiles. It's kind of nice. For you, not for them. It's a nightmare for them. Now, there is one last joke on this skin here that I need to explain, which is the dumpster on the underside of the wing. Now, you might be like, oh, is that a joke about dumpstering the enemy team? And but actually, no. I didn't think of that until after I had already filmed this. It was actually supposed to be a joke about where the Swiss banks kept their financial records for World War II. And it's, like, actually kind of true. Oh, and quick side note, rather than killing this A-10 right now, I'm just going to go ahead, speed away from him, pop up, kill an F-117 that's up above me that my teammates are about to point out to me, and then I'm going to circle back and kill this A-10 here. Sort of more efficient than just killing him now. But anyways, as I was saying, in 1997, a random security guard found a bunch of old ledgers in a trash can showing that Swiss banks had basically stolen all the money from the accounts of Jewish people who had mysteriously stopped coming to check on their accounts after World War II, and it became a huge scandal. The security guard wound up famously becoming the only Swiss national ever granted asylum in the United States because people were so angry he made Switzerland look bad. And I mean, that's just insane. Because if you wanted to make Switzerland look bad, all you'd have to do is point out that there were areas of the country where women did not have the right to vote until 1990. But anyways, back to this match though. You know, for a while, the F-117 here was like the only enemy player that was still alive. And it was actually hard to find it, not because like he wasn't showing up on the radar because he was stealthy. He wasn't showing up on the radar because it's a big map and we just had no idea where he was. And now this A-10 is toast because I'm going to come in and hose him with missiles, and he's slow, and if the missiles somehow miss, I'm in the perfect position to gun kill him. Now, as I could tell from their own team chat that I was able to see after the battle by, you know, using the replay of the website, the few remaining enemy players have decided to hop into A-10s and charge me. Let's see how that goes for them. But before we see that, let me quickly thank William Montgrain 6544, Resvelger 401, and Harbinger 9416 for your super thanks. You know, the first time I learned you could attach money to a YouTube comment was when people started attaching money to YouTube comments under my videos. That's how I learned super thanks existed. Also, I asked Henry Tick if there was anything he wanted to say to YouTube, and he said that you should all like and subscribe. Or he said subscribe and like, I should say. And it's very simple. If you subscribe and ring the bell, you won't need to remember how to spell my name next time you want to watch one of my videos. Now, if these A-10s are coming straight out of their team's spawn, they are logically going to be a little to the right of their airfield because it's not right in front of the spawn. But it's close enough that I could be hit by the AAA, and I don't want to get hit by the AAA going straight at them, so I'm going to flank around the side. They appear, I go in for the kill, they're the last semi-players, and the match times out. And they technically won by default because they had a small ticket advantage, so charging with A-10s actually worked out really well for them. Anyways, like and comment to feed the algorithm, and remember, if you subscribe and ring the bell, you won't have to remember how to spell AOLIPay next time you watch one of my videos.